Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com, continuing our way through the KC Tool Black Friday greatness that was. We're going to pick back up here. I will tell you right now, if you're kind of sick of the same old, or a couple of brands popping up, we got a nice mix in this one. Felo, Gedore, Stahlwille, Hazet, it's all there. So, with that said, we've also got a little bit of Wera, quite literally, thanks to the bit of thanks. Anytime you place an order at KC Tool, whether it's $1,000 or $1, you get a bit of thanks. It is currently shipping as a number 2 Phillips from Wera. Now, if you hit the $75 mark, you get free freight. If you hit the $100 mark, you get a mystery sticker. We've got this one right here. We're going to go ahead and crack it open and see what we get. I've got our master checklist here. So, keep your fingers crossed. What we're looking for: Hazet, Knipex, KC Tool, and Wera. So, I thought I had a Wera. I'm going to have to actually double check that, but here we go. What do you know? It is Felo. While it's a great looking sticker, I like Felo, and we even have something from Felo in this video. Yikes. Yeah, this will be the 4th duplicate. Kind of crazy, but nonetheless, good time. For a little freebie, can't complain at all. And with that said, I think the logical place to begin, it's kind of a tie-in with our last video, and some of you are like, no, variety. We want variety, not more Hazet. Well, this has been around. This is a smart rail that we picked up, I believe, on Tool of the Day. This was not included. It's 1/4 to 3/8 adapter. It's Hazet as well. Thought it was a nice touch. This literally sticks on the inside of the drawer. You know, you've got your drawer here, all the tools laid out, and then the upper lip, I have that just hanging out there, and it's worked beautifully for me. I have it oriented like this. You can see the sizes. These are 6-point. I want to say it's 3/16 to 9/16. Pretty much everything you would ever want. Now, if you recall from the last video, you're like, wait. You showed us the 1/2-inch drive metric socket set that you're going to pair with your 9/16 HP ratchet. I thought you said you couldn't get 6-point SAE from Hazet. Well, you can't in 1/2-inch drive. Now, again, I wish there was like someone at the factory I could just like quiz about how they make these determinations, selections, and deviations, but it is what it is. Those were brought in on a steel. I liked that so well, and I have so many plans, I decided to do this. It's going to take me a while to find the frickin' part number here. There's like 5 sheets I'm having to work off of for this tool haul. This is Hazet's HZ850 SR7S. Again, ignore that HZ, just 850 SR7. Now you're thinking like, 850 is that like a 1/4 drive socket? You're on the right track there. And then 7/7, you're thinking Koken probably, like, is that 7 pieces? It is. And SR, if you think about what I just threw down, smart rail, you say? And that's 100% correct. It's right here in hand. Current price on this thing is $112.20. These things are spendy. They're very proud of the smart rails. I only have that smart rail, and now obviously this one. I would be interested to see. I can't imagine them changing the footprint. It holds those beautifully, little 1/4 drive. I don't know that I would want to put my 1/2-inch drive on a smart rail. I'm not sure about 3/8 drive. That's one of those things. I think I've read reviews on like the 3/8 deep. I think it was a Tool of the Day one time. And I think the guy said that he's like slid down, and I could totally see that happening. And now again, increase the footprint, but then you get a whole new can of worms there. But for a 1/4 drive, these are fantastic. So if you're just putting it in the box in standard configuration like that, it should keep it from flopping over all the time. You can also do things like I do, where you've got dead space on the sidewall. Well, now you have sockets. You know, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3/16 to 9/16 SAE. But what is this? Well, let's find out here. Feel bad kind of tearing that way. Let me turn around. Grab the old NWS here for this one. Zip the end off real quick. Leave it partially connected because we're cool like that. That way I don't have to pick up and throw away 2 pieces of trash. I can just get by with 1. All right, freed from the packaging. This is what we have, kind of for a showcase from the factory. Again, 850 SR7, kind of short, sweet, and to the point. Doesn't give you the size ranges or anything. So let's take care of that now. Right here. I'm just going to save you time, bring it up to my face. 5.5 is the beginning. We get a 6, a 7, an 8. You're going to skip the 9. You get a 10. Find that out, so that's my candy. An 11, and you guessed it, a 13. So this skips the 12, it skips the 9, and it starts with a 5.5. So if you wanted something smaller, that's going to be something you will have to source yourself. But it is a beautiful little setup here. Obviously going to pair ridiculously well with our SAE set. Just beautiful to see. Again, 850A SR7. What is that? American. 850 SR7. So between these, you kind of have a fairly comprehensive quarter drive set. It's going to cover probably 90% of what you need to do. SAE and metric. So let's grab the big one and kind of showcase them. You should have Hazet sockets on your mind. I told you how they just fit my fingers and hand perfectly. This, however, maybe not so much because you have one band. You didn't have the second band. Obviously, if they did that, you'd change your entire overall length. You'd miss out on your standardizations and everything. But it's still, for a quarter drive socket, it works very well. Now, what do we want to pair that with? Well, we've got all kinds of options. We can come in here and take our beloved HP. This is the only quarter drive Hazet that I've got. What am I doing wrong here? Oh boy. Right there. We got her in place. Again, fantastic. It's probably the least used Hazet, I would say. Ironically. I do get the 80, especially at work. That 3H drive, I've got a Koken spinner on it, and that thing is broken in beautifully. Also, from the 811 line, relatively new edition, we can come in here, and we can stick this on. Boom. Now we have sort of just a little spinner. Very, very compact here. Not necessarily my choice. I might want something a little bit more voluptuous on the back end. But for compact, tight spaces, this would work extremely well. So we'll throw this back on. Again, if you were curious, I don't guess I showcased it this time, and if you don't remember, these aren't just magnetic rails. They actually twist to lock, sort of like Ernst. If I come in here, I can take this biggest socket, the 13, and I can just place it here. I'll turn it upside down. And again, there she is, case in point. No trickery on my end. Stick it to the Hazet logo. In fact, we can probably pick this up. That's actually held by the socket. That's how strong the magnet is. So, very, very nice setup. The other thing, this is sort of soft to the touch back here. Soft and padded. I cringe when people place stuff like this on fenders and hoods and engine bays, but if that's your style, you know, you can absolutely make that a reality for you. But between our Hazet quarter drive, that's just a really, really good setup. I've got that sort of pushed up to the front because we got to make some space here. Quarter drive Stahlwille flex head. Quarter drive Stahlwille breaker bar. Quarter drive Stahlwille bit ratchet, just for good measure. And then quarter drive Stahlwille ratchet. Okay, sort of one of those things. Just over time, you know, doing this for as long as we have, you kind of start to build out some pretty cool sets, right? And out of all of these, my least favorite Stahlwille is going to be their flex heads. They're kind of all over the place, right? It's not a time to bag on them, but that is a lot of play. Not something you would think from Stahlwille. A lot of people tell me, like, when they use these frequently, the green button pops out and they just lose all functionality. The breaker bar, actually, believe it or not, I do use that a lot because what I'm able to do is basically just break something free, come up, spin it out super fast, 1-to-1 direct drive ratio, and then similarly run it back in and then tighten it. And it's stupid good. It's also kind of a nice length, right? You sort of have like a 170, then this, and these are both going to come in at 117. This guy right here is a bare-handled version. None of these are my most used Stahlwille quarter drive ratchets. And you're thinking like, well, moron, that's all there is. No. If I turn around, where have I set that? Oh, no, it's over here. 1 second. This, which I believe was like the first advent calendar I picked up. This thing like lived in the truck during the Ram revival. Stupid handy. The locking extension. Again, basic metric sockets 5 through 13. You get the ratcheting stubby, magnetic pickup, a bunch of bits that I rarely used. But this guy right here was my go-to. Still is, and it just kind of lives in this set, which is sad, because I'd sort of like it to not live in the set, so I would have it elsewhere, but I don't want to pull it from the set. So, right here, 117 millimeter. Now, I bring up that ratchet and the other ratchets and the links for good reason. Number one, there is actually, believe it or not, a Stahlwille ratchet that I did not know existed. And these are all essentially going to be the 415 QRs. It's going to be quick release, right? We're going to ignore the bit ratchet for now. Let's just kind of get it out of the mix. I had it there just to showcase the exact same footprint as your standard one. If we come in and we get to my sheet of paper that had that, what you have, the 415 QRN, it's going to have the grip, all right? $92.40 is your standard price. Again, wait for tool of the day, wait for a sale, my advice. 415 SG QRN. Personally, as a Mopar guy, I think sure grip, I think grip, I think this should be SG. It's not. The SG actually refers to this, the bare handle. I'm sure they have some vernacular I'm unaware of there. 9612, it actually costs more than this one. That makes me believe if I were to slice and dice that off, we probably don't have as beautifully finished of a handle as this little guy. Up next, we've got the 416 QR, which is the flex head. It's the spindiest at 139.20. There's a piece that comes in. I'll get the breaker bar out of there too. Right between these two and the flex head, and you're thinking like, oh, a flex head, cool. Why don't you have it? How did you not know that exists? No. They don't have a non-locking flex head as much as I wish they did. But what they do have is a long version. I tried a 415 QRL in for 115.44. That's interesting, but did you know there is still one other Stahlwille ratchet? And I'm not going to lie, I knew about this one, but I never bought it. I think I'd even seen it on Tool of the Day years ago. And I just sort of held off, and for good reason. Number one, I had this, and I prefer the grip because these are small. They're dainty. You hear me complain about that with Koken a lot. Totally get what Koken's doing with their Z series, but like, they're small. This is very small. And obviously it's more comfortable for me to have this nub in my hand than like this shaped, absolutely beautiful finish out. But this, especially for anything repetitive or like longer than 1 or 2 fasteners, is my preference, right? However, on their seasonal that ran during the Christmas time, you know, Black Friday and Christmas, that fourth quarter of the year, if you will, there was a Stahlwille ratchet. It is a 418 QR. And you're thinking like, 418 QR, so 416, what would it be? Like, must be like super, okay, it's like a professional, you know, kind of like people always buy the big long Matcos, right? No. This thing, if we go by the price point, which I'll now give you, of $68.64, granted on the seasonal it would have been cheaper, and if I'm not mistaken, I got to stack the Black Friday discount on top of the seasonal. And at that point in time, that's when I pulled the trigger. So here it is, the 418 QR for less than $68.64. You're like, idiot, we can't see it. I know. So we'll turn around, grab the scissors. Should have grabbed the Stahlwilles, I guess, for this video. But we're just going to slice and dice and get it opened up. Again, if this didn't have a sale and it didn't have like a stacked discount, I don't know that I would have brought it in. But as is, we have a lot of Stahlwille quarter drive, and I thought to myself, you know what, let's just do it. And here it is. Hand placement, absolutely 100% intentional there. And you're thinking like, that's the same ratchet, dummy. You know, like here I was thinking, you know, it was going to be something special, or maybe like a miniature flex head that didn't lock, or, you know, some lower tooth count. This looks identical. Well, this follows their 80 tooth count. Super, super smooth. Stahlwille is half inch. Not a huge fan, but their 3/8 and quarter are both phenomenal, at least in my experience. It's a quick release, and you're thinking, 60, I thought you said like that one cost more than that one. What's the deal? Well, from here you might not be able to tell, but when I drop this down, now you can tell, right? In fact, let's make this even more obvious. This, even though I am the first to admit, is a almost insignificant difference. This is basically their mini ratchet. Okay, I know a lot of people are big fans of quarter drive. A lot of people are big fans of mini. This, to me, there's times where like maybe, you know, like this handle, the longer length is just, I can't swing it, and this guy just skates by. You know, like maybe this is the leg on a battery tray and I'm trying to get to some clamp right here. This will go by, whereas that one I'd have to ratchet, and this one I can just you know, almost go like a full 180 type of a thing, or 90 degrees at least in a natural ratcheting motion. So there's times, absolutely, it could come in handy, but it's not like their quarter drive standard are all that length. They're 150 millimeter or something, and it's like, whoa, that's almost half the size. It is shorter, but it's not like, yeah, you know, significantly shorter. So it maintains like all the functionality of the ratchet. The head is slim, the head is compact, the handle is kind of comfortable for as dainty. This is very dainty. But at the price point on the seasonal plus a stacked discount, I just went ahead and did it. And, you know, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So conveniently, we'll pop this open. We'll just go right up to our 13 mil. It could come in handy, I'm not gonna lie, but it was basically one of those things. The price was right, okay, and I thought, and it might have, for all I know, I could have bundled it. It's been a while. I might have like done that and gotten free freight, and like it was in stock or something. Who knows? But that's what we did, and I think it's a really nice setup. Real quick, just to make this extra nerdy for you. Well. Go to the catalogs. Granted, this is a slightly older catalog, but if we come in here now, Stahlwille does have other quarter drive ratchets. Granted, we're kind of sticking to the 80 tooth varieties here. So QRN, that's the padded one from our advent calendar down here. Can't even really see it. It's 117 millimeters. Right here, the flex head, locking flex head, I should say, is 170 millimeters. Again, bit ratchet, 117. If we come up here, we've got the bare metal handle at 117 millimeters, and then right there is the missing one. They do, in fact, have a longer quarter drive ratchet that's 153 millimeters. So if you see this and you're like, man, I would love to get a quarter drive Stahlwille, those are tiny, go that route perhaps, if you prefer it. If I come in over here to give you an idea, this Stahlwille breaker bar, which I do really like, is 154.5 millimeters. So that longer quarter drive ratchet, I can almost guarantee will have this same end, and it will just, instead of this breaker bar yoke, it's going to have the ratchet head. So almost this exact form factor for that tool. I don't know that this catalog is like a 2018. I've got a slightly newer Stahlwille catalog in the house. I don't think this has the mini. I don't believe it does at all. So that might be newer than 2018, or at least newer than when they printed this catalog. So that's interesting. I guess we can kind of hang our heads on that. But otherwise, the other ratchets in there, they're just like older tooth counts. They've got kind of like the round head ratchets. I think they're 60 tooth, and then they've got like a OG 22 toother, which I'd love to pick up, but they're crazy expensive and it makes no sense to me. So with that said, that's what we did. We added a mini ratchet, and let me know what you think. Is this something you would use all the time? Do you have it? Do you love it? I'm sure a lot of you on that seasonal picked it up. How are you liking it? What do you think of it? Is it something you'd buy again? Does it obliterate your current quarter drives? Do you hate it? Do you just love the ratchet action but think it's too small? Did you buy it and it's like, man, I wish other companies made something that tiny? Just real quick, since it's here, there's the Hazet versus the Mini. There's the Hazet versus that one. Just something about the way this handle is just works well. But nonetheless, they do have a ratchet that escaped me in that 153 millimeter range. So might be worth considering if you hate dainty, although that won't be much bigger. It would basically be, you know, that much bigger than your standard, and then sort of, you know, 33% or so bigger than the Mini if you picked that one up. So yeah, if you did buy that, let me know how you like it, what you're comparing it to. But with that said, we do have, as promised, some other stuff. I've just got to figure out where in the world I've sat it down. So give me 1 second. All right, when I bought this thing, it had just hit. They didn't even have, I don't think, the product image. I kind of researched it and I was like, yep, I'm going to do that. It is from Felo. We hadn't seen them in a while. It is a 494. Let's get the exact part number for you. I guess it's going to be a 64957. This sucker sets you back $13.85. Granted, we got that thing discounted. Boom, Ergonic. And you're thinking, like, another screwdriver? No. Kind of spoiled that if you saw it when we first dropped her down. It's what they call a staple lifter. To me, it looks like it's going to get under a lot of push pins and panel clips and things like that. Also staples, which I deal with. They had several different sort of trim tools in this expansion that KC Tool had with Felo. I wanted to give this one a shot. What I love about it is how thin that is. I mean, it kind of, you see the handle, just kind of standard screwdriver handle, bends down subtly, sort of stair steps. The profile and the thinness of that head is really what turned me on to it. So I've been wanting to use this thing. Now I can. I don't have to feel bad about getting it dirty. In true Vit and Felo fashion, they just come in like covered in that crud, right? Very, if you've never used an ergonic handle, you're either going to love it or like it. I don't know if anyone would hate it. Something you might hate is the dust, the lint, the magnetic ability and attraction between everything swirling in the air and that material. If you can get past that, you can keep it clean. Maybe you live in an area that gets rain or you know, has green grass and doesn't have 80-mile-an-hour wind like I do. It might be slightly better. But I'm super excited to use this thing. So we will set it down right there. If you picked those up, let me know. They've got some weird, funky shaped ones too. This is my gateway. I'm going to see what I like. See if it does a good job, if it's an upgrade, if I tear everything up with it. And then we'll expand into some of the other more, you know, exotic profiles, I guess we'd say. This next one, dadgum, I should have grabbed those as well. What did I do with it? 1 second. All right, here we go. This is from Gedore. This is a big deal for me, probably not for most of you. It's the D19 AF series. If you know anything about Gedore, half-inch drive, AF, American form factor. This is a 1-inch socket. Some of you are like, yay, you know, oil filter nuts. Sure. It also drives bushings for me. Price point on this, kind of spendy. $19.91. There it is. And you're thinking like, D19, what's the catch? Show us. This is a catch. 12-point profile. Fairly thin wall. You got the ribbing here, got the Gedore branding You got your... They jam-pack so much in there, like the D19, and then you get the 1-inch over here. If you know where to look, it's very easy to find the size. If you don't, you're going to be spinning around like, oh, 19 mil. It's like, no. So keep that in mind. However, the reason this is so big for me, it completes a set. Almost. This stuff, particularly that socket, took for frickin' ever to arrive. Granted, I know it's March right now. This was Black Friday. That came in at the end of January, pretty much. However, there was a straggler. There was somebody who straggled behind even more than that. I think actually I ordered something else that got that sort of expedited there. But this one, oh, this one, it came in March 19th. Like, I kid you not, it was bought Black Friday, but it showed up March 19th. Current MSRP at KC Tool 2606. You're thinking like, huh? Well, it's probably not a socket, you know, because that thing was a little different. Before we get into it, I got to get into this. I typically get brown boxes like you saw on the Hazet tool or the Hazet socket set. You know, usually that size is like standard, maybe something bigger depending on what I order. I have never had one of these little bubble mailers from them. And I'll tell you right now, they went all out. They have the backside too. It really pops with the black. It matches the shirts, the hats, the t-shirts. Branding on point. If you do anything shipping wise, if you run a small business, your own business, this stuff is not cheap. Okay, and then you have to have so many stupid sizes. You know, something like this works great for bits or single wrench or something like that. But it's really hard. It gets super expensive when you try to do like cool packaging for people. That's why so oftentimes you just see like branded packing tape. It's the most economical and it goes with all your different sizes of boxes that you need, right? But I thought this was really cool. And again, I personally have never had anything from KC Tool in a bag. So it worked out well. Now, speaking of in a bag, I've got this. And you're like, oh, buddy. Yeah, here I was thinking this guy had like another socket, but he's got the Gedore blue box, and man, I bet that's like, shake it for us. Is it like EDC, like Cobra equivalent? Is it some extensions? Maybe it's like one of their wobble fix extension type things. What could it be? Well, right here, this will spoil it, unfortunately. Gedore. You're seeing socket 1/2 inch, and you're seeing 1 1/16. The D19 1 1/16. You're like, wait, what? Really? A socket? No way, dude. No freaking way. Yeah. So, why this guy got such an exotic box, I don't know. Usually, I just get him in like a bag from KC Tool, but with their own like little part number and everything. I'm not going to complain, though, because it's cool. You know, it's a simple box, nothing fancy. But, yeah, hey, worked up, thought, build the suspense. Like, oh, EDC pliers, you know, this is going to be great. Nope, just a socket. An inch and a 1/16. I told you as recently as the Hazet 1/2 inch drive socket explosion set we did. Good things happen over time. I tack these on when they're in stock, when I need like $5 to get free freight instead of paying freight that's way more than the $5. I tell you all these things, but I actually practice what I preach in this case. Not always, but most of the time, you know. And this is going to be super cool. What I'm going to do, get this out of the way, all these Stahlwille ratchets and everything. We don't have space for this quarter drive stuff. No. Gotta get some sockets. This is going to be glorious. As I turn around. Oh boy. Nearly lost the Stahlwille. Now this isn't quite sorted perfectly, so bear with me. This MTS friction peg. This one's from Carlisle. That's why it sort of has like the inverted colors, white on blue instead of a black strip there with the white offset letters. Also in the back, that is a, yes, 100% 3/8 drive. Okay, and I have them basically sized up through 15/16, but I have some extra smaller ones, and then 7/16 and 3/8 basically are too small to fit over the pegs that are 1/2 inch. Makes sense, right? When you do the fractional math, 8/16, 7/16 incompatible. But pay attention, not to the back row, but to the front row. This is Gedore's 1/2 inch, 12 point. American form factor, American dimensions, SE, fractional, imperial, whatever you want to call it. 3/8, 7/16, 1/2, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, 13/16, 7/8, 15/16, inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter socket set. It was just almost, at least by MTS standards, complete. We're going to take this right here, the 1 inch, which hopefully you can tell I have it oriented facing out. And ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate straggler, the 1 1/16 goes right there. Boom! Complete. Such a good sight. So awesome to see it come to fruition, especially when you have like a packaging like this. Now, I recently mentioned in that Hazet video that timed out there, but I recently mentioned in that Hazet video that at work I had to use a 1 3/16. And I said I had to go fishing for it. The reason I had to go fishing for it is I have basically this equivalent tray. But, as you know, there's no 1 3/16 here. So that is first time in recent memory I've ever had to use a 1 3/16. That's why it's usually not a big deal to go throw them somewhere else. Luckily, I had it in Impact, and I had it in the 12-point chrome. And I don't know what size metric thing that was, like 30-ish, somewhere in that range. But I did actually need that. But for all intents and purposes, these are what I need. Inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter, and then 15/16 down. So very, very pleased to have this. Again, where the Gedore sockets came in was kind of testing, and then I got a really good deal on like this foamed metric kit, and I wound up liking it. Still haven't made a video on that, and that was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably at this point in time. But yeah, this is sweet, sweet, sweet seeing that just laid out like that. Again, I wish I had like deeps in the back and could, you know, have it all like perfect for you, but I don't. So this is what it is, man. I'll just, you know what, insta crop right there. Oh yeah, that's so satisfying, man. I don't know, as a kid, like my grandma was hardcore, yes, my grandma, into baseball cards and stuff, so like collecting and complete sets and all that stuff is just like ingrained in me from childhood, I guess. So yeah, that is super, super cool to see. But with that said, that is what we did on this Black Friday haul. Believe it or not, there's still a little left, and we're going to have that one probably in your next video unless something crazy happens. But it's getting late. I'm running out of space on this card. I always get leery deleting files that I've copied to the computer already that I haven't edited, because I've had so many things when I go to edit it be corrupt. And I'm basically maxed out right now, so I'm going to have to sadly go inside and do some editing as opposed to doing cool unboxings and tool hauling. But hey, it is what it is. Will we ever complete the mystery sticker set? Will we wind up liking this? Will it be the trim tool of my dreams, and we'll expand and add all sorts of things that'll be hard to store? Will we get Hazet 3/8 6-point sockets? Will we get the missing link, the slightly longer Stahlwille, and will it be the perfect form factor? All this and more in the next thrilling KC tool haul. But with that said, I really do hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little something. Maybe you're like, oh hey, I did not know about that Mini. I've got to pick it up. Maybe you're like me. You had no idea there was a slightly longer one. And I will tell you, if you bought this on the seasonal, I would skip their standard one and I would go straight to the long one. And I tell you that as somebody that has both and someone that has the flex head, which the ratchet action is phenomenal on this, but it's so like not up to what you'd think Stahlwille would do. But right there, I mean, if you kind of size those up, OAL and the Ascension, I'd say right in this area would be a nice addition if you do have that mini but wish you had something slightly bigger. But that's just my take on it. And with that said, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you do that, you ring the bell, you jump your charger across the creek, YouTube just might notify you that we got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, I do hope you enjoyed. If nothing else, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you come back next week for another video. With that said, bonus, I don't think I'm going to have this or the Gedore sockets in the thumbnail. We're going to, like I said, sometimes I do that. You know, I'm like one of the cleanest cut channels on YouTube. No clickbait, none of that stuff. But, you know, sometimes people are like, I don't need to see any of that stuff. But they might have loved to see this. And will it be there? You never know. Will I crop out multiple tools and you have to click and watch? We'll have to wait and see. But do hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend. Again, most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop.